Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to World War III. Breaking stuff. It looks like Elon Musk, it's officially happening. He is buying Twitter for $45 billion. They are going to accept his bid. So overall, this is amazing news for conservatives. Not so great news for Democrats. If you are a Democrat, and I do want to pull up this tweet because I think it's a great comparison. You can find me on Instagram if Elon Musk buys Twitter, is the new "I'm moving to Canada if Donald Trump becomes president." It's exactly right. These are just empty threats. These are just liberals lashing out. And really, it is sad to see people get so angry that the First Amendment will be installed onto Twitter. You take a look at what Elon Musk is doing. Elon really does care about his legacy. At least I think Elon cares about his legacy. Elon cares about what people think of him when he leaves. And he's a very rich person, and he saw an opportunity where social media, Twitter, was influencing elections, was influencing certain things like taking down the Hunter Biden story, like banning Donald Trump. And he said, listen, this isn't right. I have the ability to buy this. I have the ability to instill the First Amendment onto Twitter while admitting, listen, I admit Twitter does not have to follow the First Amendment. They're a private company. But it's also important to understand how great and how healthy it would be for American politics if a big social media platform where a lot of Americans talk about politics on it, if they did abide by the First Amendment. And we're not talking about, when it comes to threatening people or anything like that. This is specific to censorship via political affiliation. You've got Twitter banning people like Donald Trump, banning people on the right, YouTube taking down a podcast just because Donald Trump appears in it. That is not right. If you're going to threaten someone on Twitter, if you're going to threaten to kill someone, yes, you should be, suspended. There should be consequences for that. But when it comes to politics, you should not be removed or suspended from platform for simply believing something politically that might be conservative. And that's what I really want to stress. And that's what Elon Musk is doing right here, guys. Again, I think the reason Elon Musk is doing this is because he does care about his legacy. He does care about making an overall impact on the world. He's really big into space. I want to do a whole nother video on space and why I actually think space is the one true way to create world peace. That's a whole nother video. If we get a space race 2.0 and we get nations obsessed about space innovation and traveling to other planets instead of investing all this money into their military, into innovation within their military, that could be possibly the only way to create world peace, where we get countries competing against each other, with space innovation rather than who can have the biggest military. That might be the only way to world peace in the 21st century. I'm going to make a whole nother video on that. It's going to be huge, and Elon Musk might be involved in that. But when it comes to this, guys, again, this is great news for conservatives, not good news for liberals. But again, all these people, all of these Democrats saying they're going to leave Twitter, they're going to another network, it's not going to happen. And Elon Musk buying Twitter is going to change absolutely nothing in terms of the way liberals will use social media. It's going to be the exact same thing. The only thing that's going to happen with Elon coming in, you're not going to get the shadow banning you would hope against the conservatives and the overall banning against the, someone like Donald Trump, to where they use the January 6th situation as an excuse to ban Donald Trump when really there's no smoking gun there. Donald Trump isn't tweeting out telling his supporters to go storm the White House, yet they banned him off of Twitter because he somehow incited, to go storm the White House on January 6th. It's a complete and total fabrication. They just needed a reason to ban him off of Twitter because they didn't want him influencing people anymore. So that's what they did right when he got out of office. They end up using January 6th and stuff like that. That just cannot be allowed. I don't care how much you hate Donald Trump. He should have a First Amendment right on social media. And I think that's kind of the big disconnect with many liberals and conservatives and their opinion of social media censorship. You've got all the liberals saying, listen, if you're going to ban Donald Trump, that's great for us. They're a private company. They can do what they want. And you've got conservatives. Some people may be ignorant to the fact that they don't have to abide by the First Amendment. I understand it. I completely get that Twitter's a private company. They don't have to abide by the First Amendment. But just like they have the right to not have to abide by the First Amendment, Elon Musk has the right to see that they don't abide by the First Amendment, think that it's wrong, have the money, have the power, because he has the money and he has the power that comes with having the money, to go out and buy Twitter and say, listen, politically, you guys cannot ban people for simply believing something. You can't suspend people for your fears that they might influence others. And that's what was really happening. So again, all of these empty threats by liberals saying they're going to leave the platform. The platform is not going to change at all in terms of when Elon Musk comes in. It's not like Elon Musk is going to start banning liberals off of these platforms. No, he's just not going to ban the conservatives. That's what's going to change. So politically, you're going to get the exact same thing. And then people bring up the false equivalencies like, oh, what about people that threaten other people? We're not talking about that. They should be banned. They should be suspended. We understand that. It's what happens when you start banning people due to their political opinions. That's the problem. That is censorship. And that is why Elon Musk is doing this, because they came up with the excuse, it's a private company, we can ban whoever we want. Elon Musk says that's fine, that's your right, but it's also my right to buy out your company and turn it into a company that, obliges by the First Amendment. That's Elon Musk's right as well, and that's what Elon Musk is doing, so I just wanted to talk about that. Also, a quick thing, I see the Electoral College is trending today. I saw it this morning, and there are a lot of liberal people. Here's a tweet: call me a radical lefty, but I think the person who earns the most votes should be elected president, not the winner of some harebrained Electoral College system. So this has definitely been a huge talking point with many liberals in recent years, because let's be honest, the only way Donald Trump won in 2016 was through the Electoral College. He lost the popular vote by over 3 million votes. If he was going to win in 2020, the only way he was going to win was through the Electoral College. He was always guaranteed to lose the popular vote. The first thing I will say, based on the current 2022 polls, we're seeing and maybe I'll do a separate video on this, but we're seeing a significant shift that's pro-Republican. Guys, I started following politics in 2014, 2015. Every single popular vote poll, whether it was in the Senate, House of Representatives, president, just every single popular vote poll, when you're getting the overall vibe of the nation, it was always going to lean more Democrats than Republicans, because there's been more Democrats than Republicans recently, ever since I started following politics. That's really shifting. And I don't know if it's this, the Joe Biden administration, how bad things are going with inflation, with gas prices, with the Afghanistan situation, things like that. But you look at 538 and you look at betting odds, who's favored, who's going to have, who's going to do well when it comes to the 2022 midterms. Republicans are heavily favored to do very well in the House of Representatives and with the Senate, the governor races, things like that. So we might be seeing some sort of shift where Republicans might be able to actually win the popular vote. But getting back to the whole Electoral College thing, you've got Democrats who like to dumb it down and say, listen, one vote should equal one vote. If one party, if Joe Biden gets 53 million votes and Donald Trump gets 50 million votes, then Joe Biden should win. One vote equals one vote. You can't arbitrarily decide this. The problem with that is you would give not only states, but individual cities like Los Angeles, like New York City, these cities with just absurd population centers, you would be basically giving them more power than the entire upper Midwest, because they would have a bigger population. The Electoral College system spreads it out to where California is still very influential. They get 55. New York gets a ton. And then places like North and South Dakota get smaller amounts, but they still get at least a little bit of a say. The thing that I always say about San Francisco is Racially, when you look at race, it's a melting pot. There's a lot of different, people, blacks, whites, Mexicans, Asians. It is a melting pot in terms of the demographics, but politically, they all think the exact same way. It's very interesting. They're all very liberal. They're all very woke, very radical left. Well, I shouldn't say they're all, but most of them, like San Francisco is going to be like 80, 90% liberal, you would think. So while they're all different races, they all think the exact same way. And having just one specific city, whether it's San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York City, have that much power in deciding who the president is just because they have a massive population, their needs and their wants and their values are going to be completely different from the people that live in North Dakota, from the people that live in Iowa. Not because the people in North Dakota and Iowa are racist and they don't believe the same things. These people live a completely different way of life. And when you transition, if you were to transition from the Electoral College to a popular vote system, you would be completely disenfranchising certain lifestyles in the Midwest because those populations are extremely small compared to a city like Los Angeles or a city like San Francisco or a city like New York City or even like Austin, Texas. Even, Texas is a Republican state. Austin's not Republican, right? And that's kind of where it comes down to. The bigger population centers are always going to be very liberal. The smaller population centers are always going to be more conservative. It's been like that from the beginning. And, liberals are saying a vote should equal a vote. My argument is it's not that simple. The Electoral College is meant to give everyone a voice. And honestly, with some of these polls we're seeing, Republicans, 2 or 3 years ago, I would say Republicans have no chance in hell to win, a popular vote. But now with the way the demographics are shifting it is crazy to see these 2022 polls. The midterms look so good right now for Republicans. Again, I'm not just making this up. Go look on Real Clear Politics. Go look on 538. The numbers, you would never see numbers like this back in 2014, 2015 with Obama. Even Trump winning the presidency, losing the popular vote by 3 million votes. The overall map is, if Republicans are able to turn Florida into a Republican lean rather than a pure toss-up, they've basically already done it with Ohio, with Trump winning Ohio in 2016 by 8 points. He won Ohio in 2020 by around 8 points again. You make Ohio Republican, you make Florida slightly Republican, and you take back Georgia. Now your map, your road to victory becomes so much easier than where it was with Ohio as a pure swing state, with Florida as a pure swing state in that sense. So I understand Democrats saying one vote should equal one vote, but when you've got massive population centers like San Francisco, again, I'm not even talking about states, like cities like San Francisco and LA could have more sway, could have more overall power than entire regions of the United States due to North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, Idaho not having a big population. And it's not like these states are getting 30 electoral votes either. North Dakota, South Dakota, they get 2 or 3 electoral votes. They're not, at least they're having a say, but it's not like we're giving every state, 10 electoral votes at least. It is divvied up based on population. It's not an exact perfect science, because if it was an exact perfect science, you would have it really closely aligned with the popular vote. But again, that's the whole idea where we want to give every culture in America a voice, at least a little bit, even if it's only 2 or 3 electoral votes. The people in Iowa are going to have completely different needs and completely different values than the people in San Francisco. And it's not because the people in Iowa are racist or sexist. It's because they live a completely different lifestyle. They're living completely different lives than someone in a big city like New York or like LA. So I just wanted to touch on the whole Electoral College thing. All right, now I thought this was funny. Most liberals with a little Ukraine flag emoji, I'm sure we've all seen them, in their profile wouldn't be caught dead with a American flag in their profile. It is a little bit of a false equivalency, right, because of the situation that's going on in Ukraine, but I just thought that was a funny tweet because it really is true. I mean, these people, if you have an American flag in your profile, you're immediately some sort of nationalist, but then they put this Ukraine flag. That's kind of like the new identity of a lot of these people. It's gone from the gay pride flag, now it's the Ukraine flag in the profile pic. Dead giveaway. Dead giveaway. Here's a little funny meme. Haha, conservatives going to alt tech platforms is the most safe space shit I've ever seen. No, Elon Musk is going to destroy my safe space by not censoring every discerning opinion. Of course, that is their argument. Like, if you're a liberal and you're arguing against Elon Musk taking over Twitter, you're arguing against Twitter being free, a free speech platform, which I guess is an opinion, but we live in America and we love the First Amendment and we love free speech, and we realize based on history, free speech is by far the best way to go. It is not healthy politically to silence other people's opinions, even if those opinions might be hurtful, or, those opinions obviously you don't agree with, you would want them silenced. Create better opinions. Tell them why they're wrong. Tell them why they're so ridiculous. Don't say you shouldn't have an opinion because I don't agree with you, because I think what you're saying is bad. You can't do that. You cannot do that. You have to argue with them and tell them why they're wrong, obviously, rather than just banning them off the platform. So it is funny. Again, if you're a liberal arguing for Elon Musk, against Elon Musk taking over Twitter, you don't want free speech on Twitter, which I guess in theory makes sense because liberals have enjoyed this kind of full reign over Twitter, over Facebook. It's like the best kept secret. Maybe people that aren't really political don't understand what's been going on, but all of these corporations, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, they've all been heavily influenced by Silicon Valley, by the left, and to a lesser degree by the alt-left. And I think one of the major problems that's currently going on with many people on the left, and why we're seeing kind of this shift in terms of the 2022 midterms, is because the moderate liberals are afraid to call out the people on the alt-left for just ridiculous ideology. Like the whole idea of defunding the police. Like the people on, that are just normal liberals, they know it's a ridiculous idea, but they're afraid if they call it out and they tell the alt-left people, no, this is ridiculous, the alt-left people will lash out at them. They would call them racist. It's like if you're a normal liberal, you can't call out the alt-left, because if you call them out, you're a racist, you're a sexist. It can never get far enough to the left. If you're not far enough to the left, you are racist, you are disgusting, and I think it's turning off a lot of independent people from the liberal party, and that's why Republicans might be having a lot of success in terms of the 2022 elections. I'm sure many of these normal liberal people would love to call out the alt-left, but they're afraid if they call them out, they will be known as racists by the alt-left. It's a very interesting sort of thing that's going on in the liberal party at this time, and it's a really bad dynamic, and I don't know how you change it. I think you have to tell the alt-left, listen, you are people that we will not be listening to. You are what is hurting our party. We had a complete stranglehold over the popular vote for the past 8 years, and now, due to the alt-left, due to wokeness, due to Biden's, the Biden administration, we're losing that. We need to come out against these people, and I hope normal liberals come out against the alt-left and say, this is ridiculous. I don't care if you call me a racist. I don't care if you call me whatever. The idea of defunding the police is absurd. And ideas like that and the whole trans thing and stuff like that, it's like, again, you can never go far enough left. It keeps moving. The line keeps going. It's like, here's the center. Here's the alt-left in 2016. Now here's the center. Here's the alt-left in 2022. Like, it keeps going. It keeps going. And at some point, it's going to go far enough to where it's going to really disenfranchise independent voters. And I think we might have gotten there. And these midterm elections might be a major wake-up call to the Democratic Party to say, listen, some of these ideas that we're letting become known in this party. They're ridiculous, and we cannot tolerate this, ideology to where it's so far to the left, it's actually turning off normal independent voters that we need to actually win elections and beat Republicans with. It's turning those voters off. Now they're voting Republican. Now the popular vote is actually leaning into the Republicans' favor because we've gone so alt-left. We'll see if they make a change, guys. It's a very interesting dynamic in this country, but that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.